Now, once more, war against pirated textiles is being waged all in a bid to address the woes of the struggling local textiles industry. Now, through introduction of the textiles tax stamp policy and ensuring that all imported textiles come through to the Tema port, government hopes to finally create a fair playing field for local manufacturers. Well, today on AM Business, we try to analyze how the tax stamp policy could effectively end the era of made-in-Ghana fabrics being counterfeited.
Beautiful patterned Ghanaian prints, elegantly designed. Many Ghanaians take pride in wearing what is referred to as African wear because of aesthetic, cultural heritage reasons, and also to boost the business of local textile companies. This is certainly patriotic, but however, there is a problem. About 70% of fabric in the Ghanaian markets with indigenous designs are designed outside the country. This is according to the Ghana Revenue Authority. It is therefore apt to say majority in made-in-Ghana fabrics are made in China.
Okay, so this is Owatridia, this is Subura, this is Bonsu, and that is a confirm. Interesting, all are indigenous designs with very beautiful African and that's to say Ghanaian names. However, the tragedy here is all these designs you see here is not made in Ghana. These are imported from China. And this comes at a cheaper cost, which is just about 50 Ghana cedis, whereas the original GTP goes for 90 Ghana cedis. So for special occasions, people do come in for the GTP. However, for everyday wear and let's say the casual days, people tend to come in a lot for these imported fabrics. The tragedy here is the high demand for these imported fabrics is dealing a heavy blow on our local textile industries.
For decades, the flow of cheap and smuggled textiles from some of the world's largest producers, such as China and other Asian countries, has contributed to the gradual collapse of the once vibrant local textile industry. In the 1980s, Ghana could boast of over 15 companies. Unfortunately, only 2 of these companies are operational and struggling to even break even. GTP and Printex are struggling to stay afloat, whilst Akosombo Textiles Print recently laid off about 200 workers because it could not afford to pay salaries.
Counterfeiting of our designs and the smuggling of same into the marketplace. That is what has led to the collapse of virtually all the industries. We used to have over 15 textile companies in Ghana in the 80s and early 90s. As we speak, as you rightly said, we have left it barely 3 of us. The reason is that almost all the designs we produce, you'll find importers or traders who would pick this, in fact, they pick the fast-selling designs, not all the designs, the very fast-selling ones, and they send it out. They are able to bring them, copy them, bring them in, smuggle them into the country. As a nation, we don't even have official records of importers of fabrics into the country, and that's a shame. What that tells you is that if we don't have official importers of fabrics, and yet imported fabrics account for over 70% of the entire share of the market, then you ask yourself, where is those 70% coming from? If you don't have any records, official records of importers of fabrics, what it simply means that they all smuggle them into the market. And so that's what has led to the collapse of virtually all the industries. And even for us who are surviving, we are barely surviving.
In the 80s, the textiles companies employed about 25,000 of the labor force, accounting for 27% of total manufacturing sector employment. But today, less than 2,000 people are employed in the textiles factories. Sadly, the woes of the sector continues to deepen as many more could lose their jobs if government does not intervene. In the past, the government introduced a number of interventions, but little impact has been achieved. An anti-piracy task force was established to clamp down on smuggled goods, but that failed. Textile dealers were forced to only import their goods through Takoradi Port, but that also failed. Yet, like another last-minute bravado act to salvage what remains of the local industry and discourage smuggling, the Ministry of Trade now plans to introduce a tax stamp for both locally manufactured and imported textiles, as well as ensure that all imported textiles come in through one entry point, the Tema port.
As a government, as we are keen on industrial transformation, one of the most obvious places that we have a competitive edge is the design and therefore should be the manufacture of our textile industry. These become critical in what we're trying to do. Thirdly, we know that there is a huge challenge with this sector. Let me give, for example, I am reliably informed that last year, in 2017, only one container was officially cleared for tax in this country. Now, that is just clearly not possible. Why? Because we know over 70% of all the textiles that we buy in this country are not manufactured here. So how is it possible that one container is the only one? So we are looking to address a number of issues. One of them, to encourage local manufacturing. 2, to encourage people to buy made in Ghana. 3, we want to stop people stealing other people's design. If I've taken money to design and you want to use it, come and pay me my royalties, but don't just take it. And then 3, we are not against importation, but when you do import it, pay your taxes so that we can do all the things we want to do with taxes that we need to do as a government, and at the same time help build businesses. One of the things we're going to do when we hopefully start middle of next month is we're going to go into the marketplace, and for free, and I repeat, the tax stamp is going to cost nothing. For free, we will do 2 different types of tax stamps. One for those that have been imported, different color code, and for those that have been manufactured here. So that whatever is sitting in your shop at that day, you know we will give you the tax stamp. Then we give you another 3 months to sell it. Thereafter, we are going to start to impose the law.
But the traders in the Central District are kicking against it due to the high existing levies.
Look at us right now. Can I get 500 million or 1 billion and go to China and order and bring it through Tema? But at least even if I bring about 20 pieces and sell, I can make a little profit and do little things that I'm doing to keep life going. But if you tell us we should take our things through Tema, my brother, how much are we making? At times, even when we do the exchange rate is even bad now.
It's like you are paying a tax and another tax in a very special way is being added to this thing. You see, when you are working, you are having about 7 to 10 workers, and you are paying a lot of taxes, and then you watch your income and the way you are paying the people. It's like there will be redundancy.
For others, the tax stamp is not a solution, but rather producing cheaper fabrics.
Since the high target was introduced, a lot of young people are able to buy local fabrics because it's cheaper. Our products are too expensive. If we could make it cheaper, it would have been better. Why else will we go to Togo to import fabrics? If we had ATL and Printex all manufacturing at a cheaper rate, we wouldn't be importing. I don't think I will go for high tax and method their permit.
Back then, we still had cheap stuff. All the factories were in operation, like PZ, UAC, ATL, UTC.
That time, now all factories are working. PZ Juma, SC Karame Juma, UAC Juma, GB Olivanti Juma, ATL Juma, UTC Juma. But still, now I want to man.
And we still had cheaper stuff. When it comes to our purchasing power, we are all not the same. Some people prefer cheaper stuff, so we can't insist that all the prices should be the same.
Quality so and I'm saying, and Sunny Yapentino, to me, Cassie, Quansonia Manu Yadiana, and Yapepe.
Local manufacturers of textiles, on the other hand, strongly disagree. They insist that if imported textiles are taxed appropriately, it will create a level playing field.
If I will support it 100%, we are all for it, and we eagerly look forward to the introduction of the tax stamp into the textile industry. And the reason we support it is simple. Now, the tax stamp is essentially, it's an evidence to show that a particular product has paid the necessary taxes on it. So it's going to be very much like what we see on this label here. It's going to be put on the fabric. Why is this important? This is important because then anybody who goes to the market, whether a consumer or a tax officer or anybody who goes to the market, can tell which product has paid its taxes and which ones have not paid their taxes. And we believe that if you pay your taxes on the product, there's no way you can sell at the prices you are selling. And if people are selling at the right prices, we believe that gives us a fair playing ground as a business operate. And we know, we trust in the value of our brand, that even if we are slightly more expensive than imported, we will still be able to compete effectively.
Auntie Comfort also sells textiles at the Central District, and just like the manufacturers, supports the introduction of the tax stamp. She says it will bring about fairness.
Formerly, they've been buying the local ones in volumes. Others have been buying to Mali, Benin, Nigeria. But because of prices, they have stopped coming. So at the moment, they are buying volumes of imported ones. The tax stamp is important because somehow it can bridge the gap between the prices when the imported ones are being taxed properly.
Now, here's a picture of the current duty payments on importations of textiles from outside the ECOWAS region. So, to give you a clear example, here's a document of an exporter who brought in goods worth a total of 117,830 Ghana cedis, 71 pesos. Total duty and levies paid summed up to 82,061 Ghana cedis, 5 pesos, amounting to 69.64% of the value of goods imported.
So I have here with me a watch video, but this is GTP. The same design here, a watch video, but this is high target from China. So to get an import of how the tax stamp is going to work. Now, when you are importing fabric to Ghana from outside ECOWAS, it attracts a duty of close to 69.74%. That's approximately about 70% duty. So this GTP here sells at 90 Ghana cedis on the retail market, whereas this is at 50 Ghana cedis. Now, 90 Ghana cedis, they'll say, is quite high. It's on the high side, and this is 50 cedis. But when you add the duty of 70%, it brings the price close to 85 Ghana cedis. And that we call a level playing field. So that's how this is supposed to help the market.
Nonetheless, stakeholders say an effective implementation will require government to do a downward revision of the duties charged.
As we call upon the policymakers, the government, in fact the ministry, to really review the taxes that is paid on imported textiles. It is absolutely not acceptable. The duties are way too high. And indeed, it's something that government, if indeed government wants to make this policy succeed, then we need to get our ministry, the parliament, to review taxes on imported finished textile products, because it's way too high. The import duty alone is 35%. Other duties, you add VAT, you add all the several, indeed there are so many other elements built up into the tax component. When you put all together, it comes to close to 70%. And that is not acceptable.
Move to introduce the tax stamp may be viewed by some as a form of protectionism. But in this case, it's rather a fight against counterfeiting, which, according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, costs world trade about $500 billion, robbing states of revenues and rendering many jobless, just like the gloomy image of what remains of the local Ghanaian textile industry. Today, with over 2,000 jobs lost in the textile sector, many companies collapsed, and millions of revenues lost, the tax stamp may just be the savior. But the question that burns is, could this be the long-awaited antidote for the dying industry, or will it rather strengthen smugglers to sharpen their skills? For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo.
very interesting AM business this week. Made in Ghana, actually made in China. Will the textiles stamp stop all of this? We wait to see. I guess time will tell. But from AM business, let's jump into AM talk. My guest, Alhassan Suhini, is Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency in the Northern Region, and also Richard Ahiagwa is with the NPP communications team. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. When we come back, we will get into the conversation. But AM Business is on every Wednesday here on the AM show. It's brought to us courtesy EcoBank as the Pan-African Bank.